I got to meet Brock Pierce through a mutual friend who's actually now Brock's chief of staff. We met for the first time at the World Trade Center, and that started a great friendship between the two of us. And Brock is that type of a person where, first of all, if he gives his word, he comes through. Shortly after I met him for the first time, he heard in conversation that my son's bar mitzvah was coming up, and he asked me for the date, and I gave him the date. I actually handed him an invitation, and he showed up. He flew up from Puerto Rico after having met him maybe a month or two before, and he came to the bar mitzvah and took part in this bar mitzvah, which was really small because of COVID at the time, and he danced the night away with us. First of all, the relationship that I have, personal relationship with Brock, is that whenever I am with him, he'll introduce me as one of his rabbis. It's great to be on his spiritual team. And he introduces me as, the Chabad rabbi of the largest Chabad house in the world. And he's proudly affiliated with that.
I don't measure my success by what I have, but by the impact. And so a billionaire to me isn't someone with $1 billion, but someone who's positively impacted the lives of 1 billion people. I view life kind of like a game. I grew up playing games. And so in the default game, most people measure their success by how much money they have or what possessions they have. I went into the options menu of life and chose to play a different game. I measure my success by the impact I have. Perfection is the enemy of progress. But you can look at almost any system, anything, and say, can this be improved upon? We stand on the shoulders of giants. How can this be made better? We're not here to judge the past. We're here to take a look at the present and understand how can we make it better. And that's how I go through life. And I'm not restricted or confined by reality as it exists. I don't see the world for what it is. I see the world for what it can be.
Brock just recently sponsored a group of American law enforcement to go to Israel to train and see the way Israel does certain things police-wise, and that was a very interesting and unique experience. We were hosted by the Israeli police, and Brock got a tour that perhaps most heads of state wouldn't get. So within the 4 or 5 days of being there, getting to see the current Prime Minister, at the time it was Prime Minister Bennett, to seeing the former Prime Minister, which is now the incoming Prime Minister, Bibi Netanyahu, who actually asked Brock for information about cryptocurrency so he could be educated about it. And then going to the top of the Kotel. There's an army base all the way up on top, going up there, meeting the Chief Rabbi of Israel, Rabbi Lau. We're obviously very grateful for the support that we received from Brock Pierce and the Brock Pierce Foundation, for his support of Chabad House and all its activities, to his financial support of the Chabad House. We're very appreciative of all of that.
Ed and Cecile Mosberg lived through the toughest of times. They lived through the Holocaust. And together, they decided to make a better life for themselves. They came to America. They built a beautiful family. And Ed was not content with just a beautiful family, but Ed was determined to make the world a better place.
I was going places with Ed Mosberg, whether it was Poland or speaking about the Holocaust, and I mentioned it to Brock, and Brock expressed an interest in meeting Mr. Mosberg. There's not that many 96-year-old Holocaust survivors that are out and about and talking and going around, so he wanted to meet him. And they just hit it off. And at his first meeting in his apartment, Ed gifted to Brock a solid gold bracelet with his Holocaust numbers on it.
It was the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Very unexpected, and in some ways surprising. But I've had a lot of these interesting, sort of unusual relationships in my life where it wouldn't seem obvious. I actually wear, Ed Mosberg's band still. It's been, since I've received it, I've been wearing it ever since. And I was just grateful to have a relationship and a friendship and to be able to learn from him. We spent a lot of time together, whether it been at the Chabad, at Rutgers with you, or in the embassy or consulate in New York City with the president and Poland. And so I wish we'd spent more time together. But Ed was an extraordinary man, and even at his age, continuing to give it his all, not wasting any of the time that he'd been given.
We recently lost Ed. Ed passed away at the age of 96, and you made your way to the funeral. And as you were leaving, you turned to me and said, "Mendy, we have to do something in honor of Ed." And we've decided that the Chabad house will have the residence hall named in memory of Edward and Cecile Mosberg. And this will be dedicated by you, by Brock Pierce.
Well, I would never make effort to put my name on a building, but Ed's name and Cecile's name being there is, I think, again, important in terms of making sure that this great man and the work that he's done and that memory lives on. And so thank you for continuing to also honor him for all that he's done.